From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LA Late.
It's a major night of a weekend edition of Evenings LA as massive stimulus is coming to millions of Americans. We'll go over the latest details on these huge checks. More than just a $2,000 over 6 month monthly stimulus check. Oh no, it's a lot more than that. What is it? It's inflation relief stimulus checks plus federal stimulus checks plus lifetime stimulus checks. And in this recording, we'll go over how to get these incredible checks. Give me a promise. Go over this under this video, join this channel, become a member, and number 2, stay the big second half. We have a massive 1-hour broadcast. And in this 1-hour broadcast, we're going to go over these huge checks that viewers are cleaning up at $200,000 to $300,000 with. The FSC federal stimulus checks are alone 300 checks. And I want you to stay the big second half, because that's where that money is, as we go over each of these incredible checks in tonight's recording for the shores of Santa Monica, California. Plus, we have other major breaking details we're dealing with tonight. Lifetime stimulus checks. On Friday, a major inflation number was released, and it gives us a countdown to that CPI-W on October 13th. I give you guidance on how much your benefits are going up. This is lifetime stimulus. I'll have the latest on that in tonight's recording. Then we'll go over the latest details on what's going on with this economy. We'll be looking at the housing market, the crypto market, the stock market, and also the Federal Reserve. It all started when the Federal Reserve gave guidance that you and I heard but Wall Street ignored. Guidance of more interest rate spikes. People betted against it. And you and I had all discussed. I had predicted that betting against the Federal Reserve would cause a financial catastrophe on Wall Street. And tonight, stocks, many stocks, are not just trading at the lowest lows of the year, the last 3 years, pre-COVID, at levels we've not seen since 1990. This is why you have to get a forward stimulus check. This is why you have to become a member. This is why you have to get this incredible stimulus. And in tonight's recording, we're going to prepare for it. Plus, you'll hear my commentary on the stimulus stampede that's just around the corner. And millions of Americans will be looking for that relief as well. The breaking news starts right here, right now, as Evenings LA gets underway. And good evening, everybody. The financial change of Wall Street, Middle America, and your wallet all started because of the Federal Reserve. And tonight we'll be looking at what the Federal Reserve has next in its game plan. Interest rate spikes and what that means for you, your wallet, and your economy. The breaking details heating up tonight's recording on Evenings. Plus, companies like Apple were expecting massive demands for their products by Christmas. And that's changed. And stocks are plummeting. Apple, in fact, went down 20% in one particular day this week. The change of the economy is so severe, and we'll be looking at that earnings recession as well. Plus, a new week and big money, massive stimulus, coming to millions of Americans. We'll be looking at what you should expect for this new week. Then, the labor market and why the slow implosion of it will come later in this recession and why it's going to cause a stimulus stampede. That will be covered in tonight's recording as well. The raise of your benefits, major breaking news as the CPI-W is just days away. In advance of that CPI-W, they'll explain how much more your benefits will go up. We got another number on Friday, the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index. Well, the latest details on what it means for your benefits. Plus, housing's falling apart, and it's one of many parts of this economy that's really crumbling. And as the economy crumbles, a stimulus stampede will be here. And what does this mean for you? Well, the latest details on tonight's recording for the shores of Santa Monica, California. Let's get to the breaking news. It's all covered tonight in this 1-hour broadcast, and I need you to stay the big second half in which we have massive stimulus checks. Unemployment, housing, your fourth stimulus, it all starts right now with the breaking news on a brand new month of October 2022. How are you? Good evening and welcome on another major night and a big weekend edition. Tonight, the U.S. economy is crippling, and it's just getting started. Let's go over the great news, though, for you. Massive stimulus. There's now 3 different categories of stimulus for you, and those massive stimulus checks are landing in millions of bank accounts across the board. Let's look at those different 3 categories. They are inflation relief stimulus checks, ISCs. Number 2, federal stimulus checks, FSCs, then lifetime stimulus checks, LSCs. And it's for you. Collectively, it adds up to monthly stimulus checks, or MSCs, and a lot more than $2,000 over 6 months that we talked about earlier this year. Oh no. These are yielding $300,000 to millions of Americans and countless viewers of this channel. And I'll show you how to get each of these individual checks one at a time later in this recording. Stay with me and stay over this 1-hour broadcast as we go over all these incredible checks. The reason you need to get these checks is the data that came in on Friday. On Friday, we had the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, a gauge of inflation that showed inflation still going higher. And the Federal Reserve just days earlier told you and I that inflation, yes, that $5 milk, yes, that $4 eggs, is going to be around not just this month, not just the rest of this year, and not just next year, but into 2024. And with all that incredible, more costly living standard, then you need massive stimulus. Now, this inflationary number coming on Friday is big news and great news if you're on benefits, because this is timely. The CPI-W will be released on October 13th, and that will give you guidance on how much your benefits are going to go up lifetime. But the best way to gauge that CPI-W, the best way to predict it, is this number, the PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, released on Friday. And what did it show? It went higher. Compared to the month before, the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index rose about 1%, about 0.6%. Annualized, it went up 5%. And when you exclude energy, it still rose as well. This is big news. Why? This is the analysis I bring to you right now. The Personal Consumption Expenditure Index is usually accurate as to what the CPI is going to say 2 weeks later. Very accurate, even though they're for different months. So this number, the PCE, was for the month of August. The number we're coming up on October 13th is the CPI for September. But because the numbers are really so close together, they actually mirror one another. And this is great news. So your benefits are going to go up a lot. How much? How does this work? How much your benefits are going to go up? SSI SSDI. That's coming up in just a second later in this recording. The other major story that hit on Friday was the earnings recession. The earnings recession was hit dramatically, and it came in with a big shocker. Apple. Apple Computers, that of course owns the iPhone, had projected that the iPhone sales for December 2022 would be record, gangbuster, massive numbers, the best demand that they had seen for the iPhone. And then it fell apart. Suddenly it fell apart. On Friday, Bank of America downgraded Apple after they said there will not be demand for the iPhone this Christmas season. And this was a dramatic change of events. This comes as another report released hours earlier said that 60% of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck. Earnings recession? Absolutely. Apple basically is going to struggle this holiday season. And 30 days ago, it was expected to soar. Now it's expected to sink. That was just one of the tip of the iceberg on Friday. Also on Friday, we had the latest details that came in from Nike, saying that their shoes that, of course, manufactured overseas and shipped back here are suffering supply chain disruption, and they will not have enough shoes to sell this holiday season. Their inventory problem continues to grow. Meantime, over to the stock market, feeling the real pinch, the real hurt of Jay Powell. And you and I knew this was going to happen. Jay Powell said days earlier that he's raising those interest rates, and he's not just raising those interest rates for this year, not just this month. He said he's going to do it into 2024. The Federal Reserve had given guidance about it, but the Wall Street executives had ignored it. And you and I had said, Wall Street's ignoring the words of Jay Powell will cause the markets to crash. And the markets crashed. How badly is the stock market crashing right now? I haven't really explained this until this broadcast right now. How severe is this? Stocks are down at the lowest lows of the year, 2022, lower than 2021 in many cases lower than 2019, lower than pre-COVID levels. And you ready for this one? Sit back, put your feet down, get the hot coffee out of your hands, because I'm going to scald you with this news. Some stocks are now at 1990s levels. That's how severe the situation is. And that, my friends, is why you have to get a fourth stimulus check. That is why you have to get the stimulus checks, because this is all really hitting very quickly. This is what we talked about, the financial cliff. How bad are these stocks? Let's look at the finger right now. Watch the finger. Stocks had gone up this year. And then by the month of May, we had that horrible guidance from Walmart and Target that the consumer is not in the store because of inflation recession. Stocks crashed. Then, not you, not I, but those incorrect Wall Street analysts said buy in May, buy in June, buy in July, buy in August. And then Jay Powell spoke straight down. I got to tell you, the straight down is literally like this. It's not like this. It's not like that. It's straight down. In less than 21 days, stocks have lost all their value this year, all their gains the last 3 years, and in many cases, all their gains the last decade. In 21 days. Imagine the hurt right today. We'll have more about this later in this recording. This, my friends, is why you have to get these incredible forced stimulus checks. And with that, let's go over these incredible forced stimulus checks that are here for you. We're going to separate them out broadly, and in the big second half, we're going to go over all of them specifically, one at a time. The most important category check I want to start with, of course, is the FSC. These are federal stimulus checks, FSCs. And where do they come from? How do they work? What do you need to know about them? Let's look at them right now. These FSCs started by President Biden in the month of March. He passed them by executive action. 3 checks, A, B, and C, that amount to $100,000. 3 checks from the federal government, FSCs, A, B, and C. And you qualify. Single individual, $75,000 less, and go get them. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get them. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, children without children, go get them as well. Those started the FSCs, A, B, and C. But we weren't done there yet. It got even better. Congress then came around and passed a bill. And Congress is also the federal government. And Congress established 7 other categories of checks. And those brought us to then hundreds of FSCs, hundreds of federal stimulus checks. And the viewers of this channel have been getting them. How do you get them? You become a member. You go around this video, become part of the Purple Power family, and get these incredible checks. Thereafter, I found other FSCs for you. L&M, N&O, P and Q. And with that, those are the FSCs. How do they work? What is each check? What is the amount? How do I apply for it? That's coming up later in a second. It's coming up later in this video. Stay with me because you need to apply for all these checks today. Stay with me. I'm going to go over each of these incredible checks in a second. But let's go a little bit more broadly in these FSCs. Federal stimulus checks. Who's the federal government? The federal government is Congress, the Senate, the House. The federal government is the White House, the president. The federal government has the money. The federal government spends the money on you. The federal government runs the application. The federal government sends you the check. Do not, repeat back to me, do not say, is it available in my state? It's not from your state. It's not paid by your state. It's not sent by your state. It has nothing to do with your state. Doesn't matter if you live in this state. Doesn't matter if you live in that state. It's not from your state. It's from the federal government. It's run by the federal government. It's federal government checks. So these are FSCs. Why am I leading with them? Because they're the biggest checks, and you need these checks. Back in February of this year, I was the first and only financial broadcaster at the time to report my prediction, which of course is now correct, the U.S. economy would have a 2-year recession. 30 days thereafter, if you were said, get me checks, Ally, because if you're right, I need massive stimulus. And they were very on point because 2 years of recession is not 3 months of a COVID lockdown. 2 years of recession is very long. And with that, you need massive tens of thousands of dollars of checks. These FSCs do that. These FSCs are about $300,000. And that's what viewers are getting from this channel. $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. And I'm going to show you how to get those incredible checks in just a second, these FSCs. Now, in addition, In addition to these FSCs, I got other checks for you. And then those other checks for you are LSCs, lifetime stimulus checks. Your benefits are going up a lot. Why? Because inflation is going up so much. And this is what we call on this channel a lifetime stimulus. Yes, 5,000, some of you more, some of you less. This is incredible amounts of money. This is all because of inflation. We'll be calculating this number. We'll be running the numbers on this lifetime stimulus in just a second. Why is it lifetime? Because once it goes up, it never goes down. And we'll have the calculations on all that and more in just a second. But in addition to that, we got other checks. Again, how do you get these incredible checks? You become a member. Go around this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. The third category of checks are inflation relief stimulus checks, ISCs. Now these, yes, are paid by the states. They're from the states, the state bank accounts. And that's likely why the checks are not that big. They're generally about $1,000 or less. Now, $1,000 is great, but it ain't going to pay your bills for 2 years. I want you to get it, but I don't want you to only think about this one because it ain't going to cover you for more than about 30 days. And we're going to go over all those incredible inflationary relief stimulus checks, which are in almost every U.S. state, in just a second. But let's go back into the breaking news. The other breaking news we're dealing with as well is the impact that Jay Powell's comments had on this economy in less than 21 days. Stock market, we already went over. What happened on the bond market? Exactly as I had predicted, but actually quicker. I had predicted the 2-year Treasury note to surge to 4% by the end of the month. It did, even faster than that. And here was the big shocker. I predicted the 30-year fixed mortgage rate in the U.S. economy for purchasing a home to go to 7% by the end of the year. It went to 7% by the end of the week. Now, I'm revising that to say it's going to 8%. And what does that mean? It means that the housing market is going to absolutely collapse. Back in the month of May, I reported the National Association of Home Builders reporting that the U.S. economy was suffering a housing market recession. That was May. In May, we had a mortgage rate of 3% heading to 6%. Now we're at a mortgage rate of 7% heading to 8%. No one can afford a home. So the housing is absolutely going to fall apart. We'll go over more about that in a second. But that's a second impact of Jay Powell's comments. The third part impact of the Jay Powell's comments are the layoffs. Lyft, the ride-sharing company that competes with Uber, announced this week a hiring freeze. That's what you're going to start to see. They're no longer hiring people. What a change of face. Because just 2 months ago, they said, we have a signing bonus because we can't get drivers in the car. Now they are not even hiring anyone and say, do not apply. This is the changing state of this U.S. economy. Amidst that changing state of the U.S. economy, of course, we had that data that said 60% of Americans are now paycheck to paycheck. And the data grows across the board. You have people who are making over $100,000 in that same survey released on Friday, and it says of them, 45% are living paycheck to paycheck. It says 71% of all American workers do not believe their paycheck is enough to support their financial living. That's a new Bank of America report released on Friday. And we have record Americans dipping into savings and dipping into debt. This is big for the second half as I go over that stimulus stampede in the big second half. And this, my friends, is why you have to get these incredible checks. And with that, let's go over some checks. You ready? I am. Let's go over some of the first few checks. We got 300 to go over, so stay with me over this incredible 1-hour broadcast. But let's go over the first 3 of those 300 checks starting right now. Remember, the first 3 checks are A, B, and C from Congress and from the White House. Federal stimulus checks. And let's look at those first 3 checks right now. Check A is incredible. And check A is $6,500 to $12,000. It is the weatherizing grant. This is the check that Spelling got. Incredible. How do you get this wonderful check A? Step 1, go into this video, join the channel. Become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Then go down to that membership newsletter and click the link to apply for check A. You apply for check A in the LLA membership newsletter. It sends you right into the application. You don't have to look it up. But you're not done there yet. You're going to go get the next check. And that check is check B. Check B is $15,000 to $80,000. It is absolutely incredible. Again, this is an FSC. It's for the federal government. It's in every U.S. state. How do you get stimulus B? You join the channel, become a member. Don't forget to subscribe. And then go down the membership newsletter, you see Check B, click the link, and go right in and apply for Check B. You got to do this right now, folks. The money's right there now. You don't wait around for this money because it's going to go away. There's going to be a stimulus stampede, which I'm going over in the big second half. And these incredible Check Bs are huge. Here's the success story from Frank Mancuso for Check B. He got 18 months of mortgage for Check B, 18 months of utilities, 18 months of high-speed internet. How much money do you think that is? Well, mortgage may be $2,000 a month. Utilities could be several thousands of dollars a month. And he got 18 months of that? Folks, that's not $12. That's tens of thousands of dollars. He's not alone, because another viewer out of Florida got 18 months of her mortgage and her utilities. She got nearly $100,000 by becoming a member. And Frank Mancuso was only a member for 1 month when he got this incredible success story. That is Check B. You're ready for more checks? Absolutely. So in addition to Check B, you're going to go under this membership newsletter and also get that information about Check C. Check C is for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. And it's been on the channel for 2 years, since the very beginning. I've gotten viewers $40 to $50 million, and a lot of it's from Check C. You join this channel, you become a member, you subscribe, and then you go down the membership newsletter so it tells you where to call, what to say, and who to ask for when you're asking for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, more. Check C. And guess what? I don't have one place to reach out for those 80 checks of Check C. I have 12 places to reach out to. And those incredible success stories for Check C are abounds. Let's look at those success stories right now. This is what viewers are getting from this channel as members for Check C. $30,000 of rent. Look at that, from Nisi all the way up to Elizabeth. Go get some Check C. How about some utilities? Lynn Glenn last week got 12 months of utilities. She followed another viewer, got 12 months. 2 viewers last week got 14 months of rent. Here is the incredible Mark, and his brother-in-law got $15,000 for utilities. That same brother-in-law got $250,000 over 10 years for SNAP. Combinations of checks, here we go. Niece is at $23,000, then she went to $50,000 of Check C's. Mark was at this, then he went to $100,000, then he got Check B, brought him to $166,000. And Lorraine was at $105,000, and then she went to $155,000. Huge successes across the board. And that, my friends, are Check A, B, and C. So how do you do this? You go under the video, you subscribe. You go under the video, join the channel, and you go right in and apply. A, apply. B, apply. And C, do exactly as I featured in the membership newsletter. And this is why you got to do it, because the data coming in about this economy continues to get worse. Let's go over more about that data coming in on this economy. When you go over the housing market, it exemplifies one of the major parts of this economy that was already in recession by May, and tonight it's even worse. Existing home starts down, new home starts down, and the price of homes falling dramatically. It was 30% of homes that are having to cut their price last month. The numbers expect to go to nearly 50% right now. And when you had a when you had a 30-year fixed mortgage at 3%, people could afford the home. But when the mortgage rate went to 6%, they couldn't. Tonight, the mortgage is at 7%. And we don't even have data in yet about how badly a 7% mortgage rate is destroying the housing market. We don't even have that data in. It has moved that quickly. Never before in the history of financial broadcasting has a mortgage rate moved so quickly. So we don't even have the data updated on a horrible 7% mortgage. And this is October, and I'm predicting the mortgage rate to go to 8% by Christmas. Imagine how badly the housing market's collapsing, and we may not even have the data at the very moment. Existing home starts, new home starts, building confidence and more. And this is after the housing market was deemed in a recession in May. Tonight, we start the final fourth quarter of this year. What does that mean for you? Number one, we started this year a negative GDP growth. Quarter number one. Quarter to number two, negative GDP growth. 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth amounting to a recession. The third quarter just ended, and on Monday I'll have that live tracking tool from the Federal Reserve that gives you guidance on whether that third quarter was negative GDP growth. What do you think? Jump in the live chat right now. Do you think the third quarter was negative GDP growth? Yes or no? I believe it was. That would mean we're fully into a recession. October is going to be very big because on October 13th, guess what we get? We also get the CPI-W for the month of September. We also get your COLA raise. We also get really the setup of the October FOMC meeting from the Federal Reserve. You know what they're going to be doing. Interest rate spike, they already told you. And you know what I predicted? 75. So we have a lot coming up in just 14 days of this channel, and it's a lot of excitement across the board. With that, let's look at that LSC. You ready? Let's look at that LSC, lifetime stimulus, which heats up on October 13th. What is lifetime stimulus? The lifetime stimulus means that once your benefits go up, they never go down. So, for example, let's say your benefits go up 10% this year. That's not 1 year, that's lifetime. And then if inflation's around next year, which Jay Powell says it will be, then they go up after that as well. So how much? Some of you 5,000, some of you less, some of you more. Do we have any guidance about those numbers tonight? We do. We have a lot of breaking news on the raise your benefits tonight. Again, this is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Rail benefits, and Veterans benefits. First, we're waiting for that CPI-W in just a few days from now. Why? Your benefits are tied to something called COLA, cost of living adjustment. And if COLA goes up, your benefits go up. COLA, what is that number? It's determined by the CPI-W for July, which was 8.7. The CPI-W for August, which was 8.9. And the CPI-W for September, which just ended, and we're about to see that number released. Over the last month, we've had a lot of discussions about that CPI-W. Jump in the live chat and write your predictions right now. Last night on this show, I saw great predictions, but they were generally about a 9, 9.1, 9.2, 9.3. We did have a 9.4, 9.5 for that CPI-W. My prediction tonight, 9.0 at least for that CPI-W for September. Why? Gasoline went the other direction. Over June and August, gasoline was going down. That was the only negative number in the CPI print. And then in September, it went up. It went up a lot, and it's been featured in the membership news and I feature on this channel. So with that, that CPI-W is going up. But how much? Well, this personal consumption expenditure index is very fascinating. And this number released yesterday shows you where that CPI-W is coming on October 13th. It went up about 1%, the PCE, compared to the prior month. 1% up? Well, does that mean that my 9.0 is a little bit low? If if August was an 8.9, does that mean it's going to go to a 9.9? Who knows? But it's looking really fascinating. Let's go over the component parts and what you're seeing tonight and determine this number as well. Get ready to jump in the live chat. When you look at those component parts, the rent is going up about 1% per month. The salaries are going up about 0.2% per month. And the medical bills are going up about 1% per month. Now we see the gasoline tracking higher. What about milk and eggs and milk and meat and protein? Here we go. Get ready to jump in the live chat. I want to see your answers right tonight. Is the milk going up where you live? Right in the live chat. Milk up or down, comma, your state. My answer is milk down, comma, California. And I know I'm a rarity because most people say up. Eggs. My answer is eggs, comma, up, comma, California. What about the meat? My answer, meat, up, comma, California. And then finally, the grocery bill. Are the grocery bills going up? Groceries, comma, up, comma, California. I want to see your answer in the live chat. And finally, with all that, if the groceries are up, the rent, the salaries, the medical bills, the gasoline, obviously the CPI-W is up. So let's revisit that again. What are you putting that CPI-W for the month of September, which we just ended? I am putting it at least a 9.0. And I got to tell you, I'm starting to think maybe I'm conservative on this. I'm starting to wonder whether I'm conservative on this because the data is just so robust. CPI Dash W for July, 8.7. August, 8.9. I'm saying 9.0, but, you know, I would not be surprised if it was 9.2 or 9.3 or 9.4, 9.2 or 9.3. You know, it's not going to be 9.9, but what do you think? Jump in the live chat. I love your comments. And get ready, because the big second half, I need your help on another question. This is an even more important question. So how much are your benefits going to go up with that? It's looking like about 11% in my opinion, but it's really hard to gauge. I got to tell you, this is not the CPI from July. This is a much higher inflation right now than July. And in July, the Seniors League said your benefits are going up 10%. This inflation is astronomically higher than July. So what do you think? How much do you think your benefits are going to go up? And again, that's lifetime stimulus. And again, J Powell says that inflation is going to be around next year. So you'll get another lift on top of that next year and the year after that. In the big second half, I told you I got massive checks. So thank you for keeping your promise. Thank you for staying with me. Get ready for the big second half. In that big second half, we're going to go over the remainder of those 300 checks of FSCs that pay nearly $300,000. We're going to jump into those ISCs, those inflation relief stimulus checks. And then we're going to go over why these MSCs, these monthly stimulus checks, are so important to get now and not later. It's called a stimulus stampede, and I need your help on this question. It's coming up in the big second half. But first, become a member. Go around this video, become a member, and get ready for all this incredible money and all this incredible news as Evenings LA continues. See you back in 60 seconds as all the breaking news continues on this weekend edition from the shores of San Marco, California, on Evenings.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Daily for the excitement of the new LA live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA at 9 a.m. Home LA returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late.
And the excitement continues in the big second half as the month of October starts and big stimulus still abounds. We'll have the latest details on that right now. In the first part of this recording, we went over checks A, B, and C as we started on this federal stimulus check details. Now, in addition to checks A, B, and C, came other checks passed by Congress, E through K, of federal stimulus. And these checks we turn to right now. You ready? Let's do it. These incredible checks, E through K, are huge. Again, they're federal stimulus from the federal government, paid by the federal government, and they are great. $7,500 is check E. Check F, $4,000. Check G, not 30% off. Check H, $2,000. Check I, $8,000. Check J, $8,000. Check K, $14,000. Wow, that's incredible. Of these FSCs from E through K, we got money in there for a car. We have money in there for appliances like a refrigerator, a furnace, or a brand new bacon griller. We got something for everything in those E through Ks. Then, after that, I got more checks for you. L through Q. L is $100,000 on average of loan interest-free money. And M is $4,000 of free grant money. Incredible. Then N is one of my favorite stimulus. I love it. Love it. It is $100 towards a brand new computer, tablet, or laptop. Now, many of the greatest tablets on the market are less than $100, so this is great. $100 for a brand new tablet, computer, or laptop. Then Stimulus N also includes free internet. Wow. I love it. I love Stimulus N. O is zero down payment, zero closing costs, mortgage, and zero insurance, and no credit check for a brand new first-time home buyer. And then Stimulus P and Q, $8,000 of free money for you, and then the other one is 3% down for even for refi. Absolutely incredible. That brings the totality of those incredible stimuluses from federal stimulus for you at nearly 300 checks. 300 checks that yield about $300,000. These are huge. Now let's recap. This is federal stimulus, FSC. So what does the federal stimulus mean? It means it's coming from Washington, D.C., the White House, the Congress, the Senate, the House. Federal stimulus does not come from your state. So absolutely never, ever, ever ask, is it in my state? Because it doesn't come from your state. State doesn't send it, state doesn't pay it, state has nothing to do with it. It's not their dealings, it's not their money, it's not their bank account. It's from the federal government. And these FSCs are everywhere because they're from the federal government. The largest check, $100,000. The smallest check, $10,000. The fastest routing time, 2 days. We had Johnny get $45,000 on this channel in 2 days. Started on Monday, got $45,000 by Wednesday. By Friday, he got $85,000. Yes, he applied for 15 programs and got 7 approved. The largest payout, $100,000. The success stories, we have had Dragon get $170,000. We've had Johnny get for his 10 or 20 neighbors and friends $250,000. We've had Lorraine personally get $150,000. Dragon was $170,000 just for her family. We've had Mark get $166,000. These success stories happen all the time. I forgot Deborah. I'm sorry, Deborah. Deborah on Friday revealed she got $16,000. $16,000 just on Friday. Congratulations, Deborah. Len Glenn getting 12 months of utilities. Another viewer getting 12 months of utilities. 2 viewers getting 14 months of rent. The success stories are absolutely incredible. Why would you not become a member? Those are FSCs. Why are FSCs more important than any of the others? Because they're the biggest checks. You want the monster checks, tens of thousands of dollars. Because why? There's a reason I record. The reason I record is to inform, educate you about what is on the horizon. I don't record what happened yesterday. I record what's happening on the horizon in the future. And the reason why you need to get the stimulus is because the horizon is not looking good, and I've been recording that for a while. Where are we going, and where have we landed already? In spring of 2021, I was the first American broadcaster to report the U.S. economy would suffer inflation at 8% and not go away, and no one was dare saying the same thing at the time. Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve was saying 2 or 3% and temporary transitory. Jay Powell is now saying inflation is going to be with us to 2024. So imagine that $5 milk you don't want, that $4 eggs you can't afford. They're going to be that way for 2 more years. Yes, you need stimulus for this. Then, in spring of this year, I said the inflation is not going to go down because the supply chain disruption is still there. And imagine tonight, Nike's reporting it will not have shoes in stock like it used to, and that's going to cause supply chain disruption this holiday season. That impacts not only inflation, but also impacts people who are employed at these stores or these businesses. They're going to get laid off because they're not drawing in the type of sales to keep the company as profitable as they'd like. Then, in February of this year, I said the U.S. economy would suffer a recession starting in 2023 for 2 years, a very severe recession. Tonight, we are in that recession, but the real heart of the recession is still not here yet. The real heart of it. I'll go over that in a second. And finally, 2 other items. One, you and I had all discussed that in the month of May to July, Wall Street was ignoring the words of Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve that said they're going to raise those rates until they get inflation down. And you and I all said they're going to crash the markets because they're not embedding the risk of more interest rate spikes. Once Jay Powell announced, you're not listening to me, I'm doing interest rate spikes not just this month, as Wall Street's saying, not just this year, as Allied's saying, not just next year, 2023, as Allied's saying, I'm saying doing it to 2024. The markets went straight down. Stocks tonight are at levels not seen since the year 1990s, 1994, 1996. Yes, stocks in some cases lost 20% of the valuation in one day. This is a very severe situation across the board. So what does this mean for you and your stimulus? What this means for you and your stimulus is that you got to get the FSCs first. Focus on them. Now, ISCs. Let's turn to ISCs. ISCs are nice, but they ain't going to keep you afloat for 2 years of recession. What are ISCs? They're inflation relief stimulus checks that come in from your states. These are paid from your states. And how do you learn about them? When you become a member, go down the membership newsletter, you see check D. D like donut is in the inflation relief stimulus checks. You click the link in the membership newsletter, and then it opens up a bigger list of all the respective states. Virtually all states have inflation relief stimulus checks. This is what they're generally doing. One, the amount of the check's not very big, generally $1,000 or less. Number two, the eligibility is about the same as we already covers on this channel. Number three, most states have a website for you to learn about the inflation relief stimulus check, the ISC in their state, to learn about when it's sent out, to even sometimes track it. And that website is also featured in the membership newsletter for you. I do it all for you. And finally, most states require you to have filed a tax return. So if you don't normally have to file a tax return, you can voluntarily file a tax return. Just go online and electronically send it. It's totally free. It's very easy. It takes all 5 minutes. They need to have that name and address. That's a requirement for most of these ISCs. So ISCs, LSCs, and federal stimulus checks. It looks really good. It is now, but now let's turn to a different subject matter that impacts it. It's called Stimulus Stampede. Jump in the live chat because I'm going to need your help on this one. Stimulus Stampede has been covered on this channel for a long time. It describes when people stampede for stimulus because they're in times of financial strain. They're in times of financial trouble. They need that stimulus. Here is my analysis, and then I'm going to ask your prediction on this in just 1 second. My analysis at the moment is the following. Americans are still going into debt. The reports coming out this week said that Americans are still growing their debt to live the lifestyle they're used to. They're still spending, but to buy that item, they're raising their debt. They're going more into debt than ever before, and they're going more paycheck to paycheck than ever before. So they're not modifying their behavior, even though they're not bringing in any more money. And the number of people saying that the paycheck does not cover their spending is indicative of that. 71% say their paycheck doesn't cover their spending. So 2 days ago, I spoke to a contractor, and he had a fascinating statement to me when we were discussing the situation. He said that the situation he's seeing right now is that, for example, this is an example he used, lumber prices are back down to pre-COVID levels. So lumber is no longer expensive. It's no longer hit by inflation. There's no inflation in lumber anymore. But guess what's happening? People, when it comes to using lumber, are sticking it to you. They're price gouging. They're raising the price, however you want to call the expression. They're raising the price. Why? Because they're still getting the end user to spend that price. Basically, they don't have to raise the price of lumber for you anymore because it doesn't cost them any more for lumber anymore. Lumber's now cheap again. But they're still overcharging you because you're willing to pay it. So here comes the question. When do you think the time and place is going to happen for the vast majority of Americans who are going to say, you know what? I've done this long enough. I can't do this any longer. I cannot afford the $5 milk any longer. I can't afford the $4 eggs any longer. This is the period of time that I'm predicting is going to be the stimulus stampede. The stimulus stampede you're going to see on this channel. I believe you're going to see this channel absolutely explode with viewership, explode with members, explode with new faces, because people are going to say, I'm in trouble. I need help. I can't pay my bills. I'm about to lose things. Those are people who are not with you right now in the live chat. These are people not even members, they're not even viewers, they're not even subscribers. And they're going to show up like a lockdown was, like COVID lockdown was. I have trouble. I have big financial trouble. They're going to say, can you help me out? And that is going to be a different situation than COVID lockdown. Why? COVID lockdown was originally supposed to be 3 months. Of course, it went a little bit longer, but it never was, years and years of COVID lockdown. This recession is going to be years and years. It's going to be 2 years of recession. And they're going to show up thinking that there's going to be assistance for them like COVID had, of all different walks of life, and business grants and small business loans. And it's not all going to be there. So here's my question to you. When do you believe people are going to start to say, I can't pay this anymore? I paid the milk $5 a gallon long enough. I can't afford the $5 a gallon. It's enough. I can't do it anymore. When are they going to stop to say, I can't do these eggs at $4 a dozen? I can't do this gasoline, which, by the way, is back up to $7 here in Los Angeles again. I can't do this anymore. When do you really think they're going to absolutely stop spending? I'm not going to say that the question is specifically, when are they going to stop spending? Not that they just don't like the number. We all hate the number right now. But when are they going to really aptly say, I can't afford this anymore? I just absolutely can't do this anymore. My answer is less than 90 days. I think in less than 90 days, things are going to get very, very dark very, very quickly. I think less than 90 days is going to start the stimulus stampede, where people say, I'm in trouble. And they're going to have all different reasons why they're in trouble. Some people are going to get laid off. Some people are going to see their debt at a rate that they cannot afford because of JPOW. The car loan will not be affordable. The flexible rate mortgage on the home will no longer be affordable, or the credit card debt will no longer be affordable. And then they're going to really suddenly realize, wait a second, I should not have been spending. I should not have been buying stocks. I should not have been buying crypto. I should not have been taking that vacation. I should not have been, buying back to school stuff for the kids and spending, $700 in one visit to the store. I should not have been doing that, and now I'm in trouble. When do you think that's going to happen? And I'm describing the vast majority of the landscape of America. So not just your household, but I'm asking the question for where you think the whole U.S. economy will see that. I really believe it's about 90 days. I think the housing market is very indicative of that. Why? Because when you look at the housing market, there are people who still believe that they can flip a home and still make a profit on the house in 2022 if they bought it in 2021. I can't say that with a straight face. I have to break out a lot because these are people who are going to get burnt. There are people who, let's say, bought Bitcoin at 35,000 and they think, oh, it's going to go back to 40,000 by Christmas. I'll get out of it. It's not. There are going to be people that said, I bought Tesla in May and on a dip, because some YouTuber said buy Tesla on a dip in May and it's dipping even more. There are people who bought Intel in the month of August. And now Intel is back to the levels seen in 1994 approximately. So when are these people going to get hurt? And my belief is the financial cliff, the stimulus stampede, is going to hurt all parts of the U.S. economy. Middle class, upper class, lower class. And it's going to be a different reality check when it happens. Why? Because a lot of people got used to how the lockdown treated them with stimulus. And it's a different ball of wax. And no one is covering this but LA Light. No one is covering how to prepare yourself financially. No one is showing you all these incredible checks. No one is getting you these incredible stimulus checks. That's why the new campaign on this channel is called #StandForStimulus. If you have a friend or family that's not watching this channel, tell them to get over here. If you're on social media, have a Twitter following or you have an Instagram following, #StandForStimulus. Share the videos, tag your friends, tell them now's the time to prepare. Now is the time to prepare, not after the storm crashes, not after the 90 days after the stimulus stampede is underway. You prepare ahead of time. And ultimately, this is not a message to you because you're already here. You're already watching the video. You're already getting the money. You're already doing the correct thing. But I know you got friends and family that aren't. I know you have neighbors who aren't doing the right thing. I know you have brothers or sisters who aren't doing the right thing. They may be going out and spending, and you're saying, stop that spending. What are you doing? Well, I got a job. And you say to them, well, you may lose the job. No, I'll never lose a job. Finally, my last commentary for today. I always love some of these strange stories out there. I just love some of these strange stories. And one of the strange stories I saw on Twitter this morning, I didn't even want to even read the whole story, was then repeated on broadcast media, which was a guy on one of those cable news networks saying that this is the first generation in many generations where 30-year-olds coming up will make less money than their parents made when they're 30. No, that's happened before. Happened in my generation, happened the generation after me. And yet every time that something's not going right in the economy, everyone always wants to say it's the first time it didn't go right. No, this hasn't gone right before. The economy has not gone right before. And they keep on saying these things. 2 days ago, there was another article on the internet that said, high generation millennial, you will not be able to afford a home like you thought you were. Well, how about Generation X, and how about Generation Z, and how about Generation Bacon? There have been other generations that haven't been able to afford things. It didn't just start this generation, and that's the scope of bad reporting. And that bad reporting is left and right, but it makes a nice cocktail hour discussion across the board, whether you're at the Boot Bar or whether you're at the casino. Coming up tonight, the programming continues. Jump into LA Live, which is airing throughout tonight. It is a brand new show on that LA Live. Jump over to LA 2. It's taking off. Really exciting with that live show airing 24/7. The programming continues throughout the night. Evenings LA every night at 5 o'clock. Brand new. I love that you've been watching the Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. That's a show not to miss. 6 o'clock Countdown. 7 o'clock Street and Stimulus, the very popular show that a lot of people like to jump into. 8 o'clock is Extra. 9 o'clock is Sunset. And the programming continues throughout the night until we come back with more shows in the new day. It's October. Whatever happened to September? It's gone, calendar calling. Another year, another September gone. And we're just days away from, you know what? Holiday LA. Can you imagine? Sirloin and the licking cows. We all got it ready. Holiday LA just days away. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, become a member. Get that incredible stimulus. You deserve it. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful night, and stay, as always, with LA from home.